I've just fixed this PS5, which I bought off eBay, as broken for £220. I got a free SSD in it, and that got me to thinking, if it's going to be pimped out, let's add some extra FPS to it at the same time. This looks pretty boring, as it is. But it does work, but it looks pretty boring. So we're going to pimp it out a little bit. We're going to make it look good, and we're going to add some extra frames per second at the same time. So it does work, everything's all good. It turns on, I've just factory reset it and everything. But I am going to put a mod on this. I know it's boring for a lot of people, but I want to do it because I think it'll look nice. I've bought that. It's, well, dark plate clones, but with the fan grill, so it's got a little bit of extra cooling, a little bit of extra airflow. I don't know how much of a difference that's going to make, but it's also got an RGB kit with it as well, so I think this will look pretty cool. But I'm going to try it out. It was £44.99 for the dark plates and the RGB lights. So I'm going to install this, but there is a problem with this, what I've noticed. The dark plates look fine. Well, I haven't actually took them out yet, but they look fine on the pictures. But there is a problem with this from what I've noticed, and that is the fact that it connects through USB, which means, number one, you're taking part of your, well, one of your USB ports away, which is no good. I don't want to do that. I don't want to lose the ability to use one of my USB ports. But number two, you have to have some stupid wires trailing around the back. It's a really shoddy design. Look at that. Like, would you really want that? Trailing around the back? Hell no. Hell no. So I'm going to mod this slightly and hardwire it in. So I'm going to do it. I'm going to basically turn it into a permanent RGB mod, and I'm going to tap into the 5-volt line on the main board to be able to connect this up properly, and to be able to not have the wires trailing around the back. Today's video is sponsored by PCBWay. Whether you've got a simple project that requires a quick mod board, or you want to launch your own products to the world, PCBWay can help. With fantastic pricing on multi-layer PCBs, flex PCBs, 3D printing and even laser cutting solutions, you're sure to get everything you need all in one place. Custom PCBs start from just $5 for a 1 to 2 layer board with a fast 24-hour build time and free shipping on orders over $30. PCBWay are also proud to announce their new aluminium PCBs, which start at just $120 per square metre. Check out what PCBWay have to offer by clicking on the link in the video description or the top pinned comment and get your project started today. Thanks again to PCBWay for sponsoring the video. Let's get back to the repair. Let's number one see how whatever fit the dark plates actually are first before I go modding the USB. I have tested the USB to make sure it works. It's inside this packet, or rather the LEDs. But this has got about at least 10 frames per second. It's like the car equivalent of the console equivalent of Go Faster stripes. Okay, so this is how you get 3 FPS out of your console. So we're going to get rid of that plate, which I've only just put on there, just for the sake of a video. And we're going to get rid of this plate, which I've only just put on there for the sake of a video. Let's have a look at these plates. Let's see how they look. Well, that's a really good fit, actually, to be fair. That went on there nice. Let's have a look at this one. That one's a little bit more... Well, it didn't feel like it went on there smoothly. But I guess once it's on, as long as it doesn't come off. It's easy enough to take off if you need to. Yeah, that works. Yeah, I mean, solid enough. It seems alright. Okay, so what I'm going to do then is modify this. So I'm going to tap into one of the 5-volt lines on the board. Obviously, it's not something everyone's going to be able to do, but you know, we'll tap into it and we'll wire this in completely. So I'm going to have to modify the case slightly to get the wires to go through as well, but it is what it is. I don't want the wires running through the back. That's the only problem. I would love to be able to tap into something here, but That's not really an option because that runs on 12 volts. I don't think we've got 5 volts. Have we got 5 volts on the disk drive? Let me just double check. I'm not actually sure what the disk drive uses. I'm pretty sure it's 12 volts though. Well, let's just double check. Before I sit there and take it all apart. That's 5. Oh, we've got 5 volts on this disk drive. The question is, does that voltage increase? We've got 5.3 volts on pin number 1 on this disk drive here. So the question here is, does 5.3 volts increase when it's loading a disk? That's what I need to know, because I need to make sure that we're not going to overpower this RGB kit. 5.32, 5.30, it actually drops. Okay, so it's running at 5.3 volts to account for voltage drops as it's being used and stuff. Yeah, that's a solid 5 volts. I can use that. I don't need to take this apart. I'm going to tap into that. This pin here is ground. The black wire is 12 volts. This end pin here is 5.3. I can use that. I can tap into that, and I don't need to take it all apart to do it. I am still going to take the top plate off because I don't want to damage this wire. Because if I ever decide to undo this, then I'm not going to be left with a damaged wire. So there's a couple of things here which I need to point out. Number one is going to be the fact that on here, on this thing here, we've got the USB, but we've also got an IR receiver somewhere on this. So it picks up a remote, so you can control it through the remote. So if I mount this inside the console, we're not going to be able to use the remote. But one thing I could do, there is one option, and that would be to basically add the button onto the front panel and mount this PCB inside this USB onto the front panel. But I don't really want to damage the front panel, to be honest, because if I mess it up, that's a one-time mess up. Whereas if I mess up the case, you know, to put the wires through, then we're not really in trouble, are we? Because you're not going to see it. But yeah. Right, so this is the disk drive connector, and the 5 volt is on the top pin. So it's going to be that pad just there that I can tap into. What I'm going to do first is just grind away at that trace. I'm going to use a mini grinder. So I'm going to grind away at this trace here a little bit carefully. There you go. Let's remove the solder mask from there. Clean that up. There we go. They're beautiful. And now I'm going to tin this trace just so I can solder the wire to it. There we go. Beautiful. That's going to allow me to solder that wire. So what I need to do then is just crack this open and get to this little PCB inside. Good thing is this should be fairly easy to disassemble. I'm not bothered about the USB port because I'm going to be taking that off anyway. And I'm not bothered about the case because it's not going to go back inside that case. There we go. All I want from this is the PCB. Cool. Good stuff. So there's the IR receiver. So what I could do realistically is move that. I could run that onto some wires, but I don't know if I'm going to do that. It depends on whether it picks it up or not. I guess I could do. It is an option. So what I need to do is just take this port off. Oh, it's got a mic on it as well, so you can have sound activated LEDs. So I'm going to use hot air and just pull this port off. Let it go. Thank you. That was messy. I didn't have to pull the port off, but yeah. Right, so I'm going to need to clean this up. Don't worry about what this looks like right now. Oh wow, that solder's weak as shit. Yeah, I'm going to need to clean this up though. This is just a little mini controller. There's nothing special about this. Right, clean these up. Clean out these ground holes, because I'm going to actually utilise these ground holes. Assuming they are actually ground, and that they're not just there for anchor points. There we go. But I'm going to utilise them. You could do something cool and connect up like a HDMI extractor to the microphone or something like that, and have it run with the audio in perfect sync. But there's a lot of cool stuff you could do with it, but for me, I don't really care. Right, that's made of a... Oh fuck! Yeah, that weren't meant to happen, was it? Uh-oh. That weren't meant to happen. I guess I should have found a little board holder out for this instead of trying to do it the rough way. Whoops. That weren't meant to happen. It's not too much of an issue. I should be able to sort that. But whoopsie daisy doo. Oh dear. Let me just straighten this out so I can flatten it. I actually should have probably done it from this side because I don't really care about the IR sensor and the little tactile, but yeah, I didn't think. Alright, it was a bit of a mistake on my part. Right, it's really difficult to control because it's not flat on the desk. Dang it, where's that cap gone? Cap's just blew off. Damn it! I ain't finding that now. You know what? It's just a cap. It's not going to hurt it. Just a capacitor. It's not like it's a resistor. Nah, it's just a cap. It's not going to hurt it. I could probably put any old cap on there and it'd be fine anyway. But no, that will be fine. Don't worry. I'm sure you lot are not worried, but never mind. Let's just make sure I haven't knocked any more components. Well, I certainly hope that we're not meant to have components there. But I don't see any on the bench, so I don't think we do. Well, let's see what the status is in terms of this running is going to be. I'm actually going to try it at 3.3 volts, just to see if it'll run. Right, so that will run at 3.3 volts. 300 milliamps of current draw, and that runs absolutely fine. There's nothing wrong with that at 3.3 volts, so I could tap into those lines there, but I've already tapped into this one here now, so I may as well use that one. So let's just run it at 5 volts, see what the current draw is. 600 milliamps of current at 5 volts. Bouncing between 450 and 650. So absolutely fine though, nothing wrong with that at all. So I'm going to need 2 wires on this. I'm going to need a ground wire and I'm going to need a wire for VCC, for main voltage. So what I need to do, grab some wire that I can use. So here's some wire for the main voltage. There you go. And I want some black for ground. There you go. Cool. So in terms of ground, then I can just solder to any ground point on the board. So I'm going to go for, let's find, I can't really use, well, I can use the edge of this screw here actually, just because I can't really use that one because there's a screw got to go through there and I'll probably end up chopping into the wire. But I can use this one, as long as I don't actually solder the freaking screw onto the PCB. I'll just give that a bit of a tin on the edge. Somewhere for me to solder this wire to. So it's a little bit oxidated, as it always is. So just give it a little bit of a scrape. And then I can solder a wire there. There we go. I'll just add a little bit more solder to it. Beautiful. And under the microscope I'll go. Okay, so there's that ground wire. And for this one's for main 5 volt. I'm gonna, well, I want this to have as little wire exposed as possible, but I'm gonna come to this part where I've just exposed, and also the pin, preferably without melting my connector if possible. It's a bit awkward, it's tight inside there. I'm not going to get a perfect connection. I'll probably do with a little bit more flux though, to be honest. Beautiful. Beautiful. Let's just sort this one out. There we go. Good stuff. So we've got a ground connection and we've got a 5 volt connection on there. So now I need to get these wires through the case. So I'm going to have to slightly mod the case just to get the wires through. So I will go... I'm looking for a entry point. I don't actually have to mod the case. I should be able to go through here. There should be enough room there. Because that's just for the fan wire, so realistically there should be enough room for the wires to go through, because nothing actually goes through there apart from the fan wire sitting inside that groove. So rather than sitting there and modding the case, I'd rather just thread it through an existing hole if I can. So I'll just clean that up with a bit of IPA, get rid of the flux. Good stuff. And let's see. If that's going to sit in there properly. It seems to. It seems to sit in there alright. And we should still be able to put the fan in there as well. Let's have a look. Yeah, buddy. Yep, there we go. And the good thing is this isn't permanent because I can just desolder it. I haven't damaged the case at all. I'll just desolder it if I need to. And all I'm doing is tapping into the 5 volt line for the disk drive. So I need to find a way to get this through to the other side. So I think what I'll do is... Actually I'm going to need to thread another wire through. I'm going to need to desolder these. off here, so I can thread the wire through, because otherwise I'm not going to be able to get it through to the other fan, to the other side of the fan. So let's desolder these off here. There we go. So now I need to find a route for this. I don't think that's used for anything. I wonder if I can get it through there. I'm going to have to take the case back off. I didn't think of that. Okay, so if I go through that hole there with this wire, it should just about make it. And then really I've got to find somewhere on the other side for it to get through. Probably well, let's not drop all of the screws. Can you tell I didn't plan this first? So if I go through that hole there, and then there's another one directly opposite it on the other side, I should be able to get it through. I can shorten these wires, that's not an issue. There we go. Okay, we are through. So now I should be able to just close this up. What I want to do now is actually install this top one so I can get this connected up. I've also got to find somewhere I can leave this to sit as well, because I'm assuming I can just drop it there or something. It should be fine. You know, a little bit of tape over it or something, or you know, you could hot snot it or whatever. Oh I've just pulled the wire through, haven't I? Dang it, why did I do that? You don't even need to take it apart to get that wire in. Nice. Actually, let's do this side first so I can just solder them wires back on. How's that sound? At least then I can get it all up and running. So this one here, you just literally stick down with some included pads. So that's what I'm going to do. Honestly, I should have just connected it through frigging USB. So there's ground. D1 and 5 volts. There we go. Okay, that's resoldered. That's not going to come back through now. So let's get the included pads, and then I can just stick this down, and then I'm finished with this side. Then just pull that wire back through and call it good. So these are double-sided, these pads. Right. Let's get these tabs off. There we go. I'm going to pull some of this wire through. Stick that down. Good stuff. Yeah, boy. That closes up good. Sweet. I'll take that. That side closes nicely. Now I need to put the fan on here. These wires, I actually don't want to sit under there, because then I can manipulate them and put them where I want to put them. Just like that. And now I need to mount this somewhere preferably close to the front because, well, to be honest, I want to try and at least get the IR to pick up. Or if not, it's not a major issue, but it would be nice if it did. Right? It would be nice if it did. Right, so I'm going to need to desolder these ones. And these ones I am going to have to shorten. So these have definitely got to be shortened. I'm going to grab some tape and I'm going to tape this board down. Probably going to tape it just here, just so as I can try and get it to sit close to the front of the console for the IR sensor to work. It's not a big deal if it doesn't, but it would be nice if it did. So I'm going to grab some tape. So I've got some 3M tape here. It's not the best stuff, but it'll certainly do the job. Like I said, I don't want this to be permanent. So rather than hot gluing it, which is going to damage the case, as soon as I put hot glue on it, it's going to start to melt the case. I don't want that. So if this console ever breaks down, which, I mean, let's face it, it's a PS5, it's probably going to break down. But if it breaks down and I can't fix it, at least I'll be able to remove the mod without leaving permanent holes in the case and stuff like that. You know, I haven't got to worry about all of that. So I'm going to add some tape. I don't need to worry about the tape being insulating tape or anything like that because there's nothing conductive on the case. But I just need to stick it down so it's not flying around all over the place. Just get a couple of little strips of 3M. Like, this stuff's old, it's probably half dead. I've had this 3M tape for about 4 years. I never use it. I bought it when I first started getting into repairs. And yeah, I just don't use the stuff, really. So I'll probably get some stronger stuff. But for now, this will at least hold it in place. I'll probably buy some better stuff. This was like really cheap AliExpress special. I don't think it's even 3M. It doesn't feel sticky enough to be 3M to me. Let's pop that there. That tape's definitely no good. I'll get some permanent tape. I'll get some better tape for it, but for now that'll do. Right, I am gonna... Well, let's put these pads on first and fix this into place. But I'm going to shorten these wires as well. See, that tape's fairly strong. In fact, give me some of that tape for it. That will certainly hold it down. If anyone knows where I can get these little tabs from, let me know. They're like little glue tabs. Alright, where's my wires? There. So I'm going to put this with the wires just there. Yeah, that'll work. So I'm going to shorten these wires. At least the wire's copper and not tin. Just zoom in a bit, just so you can see better. So make sure the wires are all the correct way around. And also make sure you haven't got a stray freaking wire like I have. I don't know if you can see that. There's a stray wire just there. There we go. So that's nice and short, that wire. To keep that stuck down. So one thing I don't want to do is get the wires trapped where this is going to go into where the case is going to go in, because it'll pinch the wires and short them all together. So I'll make sure that's not going to happen. Pop that on that tape as well, or under that tape should I say. Just try and route it so it's all as neat as possible. I've got a ground pad there. Right, let's just tin that wire first. There we go. Right, let's add a bit more tape just to give it that extra bit of security. Get rid of any flux on there. Yeah, I do need some better tape, but it'll do for now. Just for the sakes of demonstration, it's fine. Whoops! Now we've got no disk drive. Ha! Actually, I need to replace the tape. I've pulled it up too many times. Just lost its sticker. Like I said, I've had this tape for about 4 years, but it's all I've got at the minute. A bit of IPA on the case, but that's fine. Just get the front plate. Make sure that sits on nice. Yep. Oh. Yeah. Good stuff. I think that looks pretty good. I think that looks pretty freaking good, don't you? Now the question, does the remote work? Does it work with the remote? Is enough infrared able to get through that case? Because that would be pretty sweet, to say the least. Right, yeet. Ah, it doesn't. Dang it. Oh, it does. It does, but you have to be really close to it. Yeah, you have to be very close to it. If you move away at all, and it's not going to work. But you can change your colours and stuff, I suppose. Yeah, so you can use the remote, but you've got to get really, really close to it. So I suppose what you could do is desolder that infrared sensor and make some sort of a mod on the front of the case. Just like here or something, and actually put the infrared sensor there so you can pick it up with the remote. But I don't think it's worth it. Like mine, for me personally, I think it'll just stay on this setting here. So yeah, I think that looks pretty good. Was it worth all of that time? Probably freaking not. I mean, I could, if people want me to do it, I could offer it as a service, but with the amount of time it's going to take me to actually take that apart, because for a customer I wouldn't put it on the disk drive circuit, I'd find somewhere else for it. So if anyone does want me to do that, yeah, you're going to be paying me 60 quid labour plus the cost of the RGB mod. You can either buy the RGB mods on their own for like £10 or £11, or you can buy it with the cases for like 45. But yeah, I'll do that mod for people if I want it doing. But you're going to pay me £60 labour because it's going to take me an hour and a half. Is it worth £60 labour? That's up to you. To me, it's going to take me an hour and a half. So that's how I would. That's how much I would charge. Right, we'll leave it there then, guys. I hope you enjoyed that. I know it was a little bit different, but you know what? It works. And no, this wasn't sponsored. Just for the record, bought it with my own money just because I wanted to. Hope you all enjoy the rest of your night, and hopefully see you all in the next one. Peace!